I want to welcome everyone and thank you for joining today's presentation on CalABLE accounts, California's savings program for people with disabilities. I'm Maura Gibney, I'm Cantor's Executive Director, and I'm pleased to introduce today's speaker, Ann Osborne, CalABLE's Deputy Executive Director. Anne has been with CalABLE since 2019. She shares a passion for the disability community and is committed to promoting the CalABLE program because she knows the important impact that the program can have on the lives of people with disabilities. We will be recording today's presentation and plan to share it out after probably just give us a little bit of time, maybe a week or so. We'll post it to our YouTube channel and we'll follow up with folks who registered for today's webinar. We can also share a copy of any handouts and information about CalABLE. So we will also have some time for questions at the end of the presentation, but if you can please stay muted during the presentation, that would be very helpful. So for now, I'll hand it off to Anne. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Maura. Um, I am, again, Ann Osborne here. I am the Deputy Executive Director for CalABLE, and I have been with the program. I'm getting close to my 6-year anniversary, so I'm very excited about that. Maura did share some questions with me prior to this presentation. I'm pretty sure we're going to answer all these questions during the presentation. And so if Maura, if you can kind of monitor the chat for me when we're done, we'll go through and answer those questions. Since we have a large group today, that will be easier for us to stay on schedule. So, so what I'm going to do first is I am actually going to share one of our ambassador videos. Wait a minute. Am I in slideshow? There we go. Oh, wait a minute.
There you are. Oh, that's presenter mode.
Stop share. I have a new computer. Give me a second here. Are you seeing my screen?
No, you need to press the green share button at the bottom of the Zoom menu.
Yeah.
There we go. I think it's about to start sharing.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. So here we go. This is actually one of our ambassadors. And so I'm going to share his story with the group right now.
My son's in elementary school. He loves jungle gyms and singing, and he's crazily physically active.
And I think the video might have stopped.
So, you know why? It's because of this.
And he's a great, happy little kid. My son has autism. He was diagnosed just before he turned 3 years old, and he's been in special education and getting disability services since. There was this presentation on this new program called CalABLE, which I'd never heard of before as a parent, and I was like, this is the best thing since sliced bread for disabled kids, and I've been telling people about it ever since. The most important thing for a parent of a disabled child to worry about is protecting their access to disability services. The thing about an ABLE account is it protects your child's access and eligibility for disability services, which would be devastating to lose if you didn't have them. The CalABLE account, it's a great savings vehicle, an investment vehicle that my child can access immediately. This is kind of step one for financial planning for my son, and it took, I think, 15 minutes or less to set it up. The best feature is the ability to ensure that my son will continue to be eligible for disability services when he's an adult. If you're eligible, you should be doing this today. We are CalABLE. My son's in elementary.
Okay, so that was Stephen. He is actually one of our parents. CalABLE has ambassadors. We are just concluding our recruitment for our new class that will start next January. But our ambassadors, they are all volunteers, and they do this because they are passionate about the program. As you can see, Steve has been sharing this ever since we opened, so we are certainly appreciative of Steve. So what is CalABLE? CalABLE is a tax advantage savings and investment program designed to help people with disabilities achieve their financial dreams. And this is really important. This is really why this program was created. It was signed into federal law in 2014. And it was exactly for that. It was for people to be able to achieve their financial dreams. As we know that if somebody is receiving SSI benefits, they can only have $2,000 in their account. And we know that that's just not actually enough money for most people to live on. So being able to have a CalABLE account, a place where they can put money and not and still keep their benefits is really important. Right now, if somebody is on SSI, they can actually save up to $100,000 and still keep their benefits. Of course, this is going to take time because right now the most you can put into the CalABLE account is $19,000. Just wanted to let you know about that, but just a little more information about CalABLE. We are here at the state treasurer's office. The state treasurer chairs the committee, and CalABLE is part of the state treasurer's office. We currently have $2 million in assets under management. We have more than 15,000 people that currently have accounts with us. And to be eligible for this program, your disability needed to start before age 26. However, in January, that is going to increase to age 46. So we are ramping up for that new group of eligible account holders. So what we're going to talk about today is eligibility, savings and investing, qualified disability expenses, how to open an account. We're going to give you some resources. I'm also going to touch on a little bit of special needs trust because there were some questions about that, and also just on the Medi-Cal recovery. So I'll touch on those in addition to what we're talking about today. Talk about eligibility here. As I mentioned previously, really to be eligible for this program, it's when did that disability occur? As long as it occurred before age 26, you're eligible to open these accounts. If you're currently receiving SSI or SSDI and your disability began before age 26, you are automatically eligible. If you're not receiving either one of those resources and you do have a disability, let's say you were blind or you may have an intellectual disability, developmental disability, as long as that disability is in the Social Security's list of compassionate allowances or their Blue Book listing. They have two publications that list different disabilities. As long as your disability is in either one of those publications, you can go ahead and open a CalABLE account. What we ask is that you do get a letter signed from your physician stating that that disability occurred before age 26. CalABLE is not required. It's not something that would prevent somebody from opening an account. It's just that because this is federal law, we follow the federal guidelines. And so if your account was to be reviewed, it would be from the IRS and not CalABLE. And they may ask you for that documentation. So we recommend that people get that documentation when they are opening their account. The other thing that you will need to have is you will need to have a Social Security number or a tax identification number. You will also need to have a permanent U.S. Address. We cannot do P.O. Box. Also, that you have access to a computer because this is an online account. So all transactions, all correspondence is done through the calable.ca.gov portal. And when you sign up, you will get your own link and you'll be able to manage your account that way. What do you need to know before you open an account? The first thing is that the person with the disability is the owner of the funds. They are the account owner, they are the representative. If you are representing somebody as their authorized legal representative, that is what you are. You are their person that is using this account on their behalf. It is still considered their money because they are the person with the disability. The last thing is you can only have one CalABLE account or one ABLE account. And that's a federal law. I know one of the questions was, can you open these accounts in other states? And CalABLE is a national program, so it doesn't matter where you live, you can have a CalABLE account. So you could be here in California, you could be in another state, you can have an account. But if you were to move to another state, you may want to look what options are available to you. Some of the programs have additional benefits for people that are residents of the state. So if that was something you would be considering, you would just do a rollover from your current CalABLE account into that state's ABLE account. So that's kind of how those work. We talked about authorized legal representative and who can serve in that role. The first person is somebody that has power of attorney. The second person would be a legal guardian or conservator. Somebody who may be married, their spouse could do it for them. A parent could do that, could be it. A sibling could do it, and a grandparent could also serve as an authorized legal representative. If you don't have any of those people available, a rep payee is also eligible to serve in that role. And also the account owner, if they have the decision-making capacity, they can actually request someone to serve as their authorized legal representative. So the example I like to share here is, let's say somebody has an aunt, let's say it's Aunt Sally, and Aunt Sally is very involved with this person's life. They, take them to the store, on vacation. They do doctor's appointments. They do everything for this person, but they aren't on this list. So the person could say, could request that their Aunt Sally be their authorized legal representative. So that's how authorized legal representatives work. And this is all, these are the rules that we have to go by through our federal law. Savings and investing. Right now, the current annual contribution limit for 2025 is $19,000. So that's my first magic number, is that 19,000. My second magic number is that 100,000. We talked about this a little bit earlier, and this really applies to somebody who's just receiving SSI benefits. So if you open these accounts and you are receiving SSI benefits, this number is important because as your account grows over time, once you reach $100,000, you would either need to spend your money. Maybe you are saving for a large ticket item, maybe a down payment on a house or a car. You need to spend that down if you wanted to keep your SSI benefits. If you are not worried about your benefits, you say, I'm doing well, I have a full-time job, I've gotten full-time employment, I don't need to have these benefits anymore, then you can contribute up to $529,000. At that point, your account would continue to grow in earnings, but you would not be able to make any additional contributions unless you did a spend down and then deposit funds back into the account. We do keep track of this. So if you're getting close to those limits, CalABLE is going to send you a notification just letting you know that you're close. Once you do max out at that $19,000, you would not be able to contribute any additional dollars to the account. So we like to keep track of that and let you know how those accounts are growing. Another way that you can contribute to these accounts is through the Able to Work. And this is if you are working and your employer does not have a retirement plan for you to participate in the calendar year. So what you can do is you can actually contribute up to 15,000 into these accounts, and you can do it through your employer could do it. If you were self-employed and you were paying yourself, you can make contributions. Just be aware that this is considered income, and so if so it's not a place you can. It's a place for you to just you can put your money, but it's still going to be considered a source of income. So if you were to combine those two, that 19,000 with the 15,000, in this calendar year, you could potentially save up to $34,000. As I mentioned, these accounts were set up really for people with disabilities, but also so that anybody who was receiving SSI benefits could, could still keep their benefits and didn't have that nest egg set aside. In this presentation here, there is a link to the Social Security Program Operating Manual System, and it's normally referred to as the POMS. And this really does give you all the guidance of how these programs, how Social Security looks at these programs. And so it's a good resource just to have if you have any questions. It's a great place to go. One thing I will mention here, since we're talking about Social Security, is if you are on SSI and you want to use your account for some monthly rent costs or anything related to housing, right? It could be your rent, it could be utilities, it could be insurance, anything that would be occurring on a monthly basis. What you want to remember or know about is that you want to make sure you do those within the calendar month. Let's say your utility bill is due on the 15th. If you were to transfer funds from your CalABLE account to pay for that bill, then you'd want to do it before the 15th, maybe on the 5th, and you want to make sure you pay that bill before the end of the month on the 30th. So those are the special parameters related to housing only if you are receiving SSI. If you're not receiving SSI, that you can withdraw money at any time, even for housing related expenses. This is one of our ambassadors, Raymond, and I love his quote here. What he says, without CalABLE, I feel like I would be consistently looking over my shoulder, checking my bank balance, making sure it was under 2,000. With CalABLE, I've been able to achieve financial peace of mind. And Raymond has been a strong advocate for us, and he manages his own affairs, and this really does provide him that financial peace of mind. How much can I contribute? Well, there's several ways you can contribute to your CalABLE account. The first one is you can set up a recurring contribution. If there's a family member that would like to contribute, let's say $25 every month to your account, they can set that up. I will talk a little bit about our e-gifting portal in a moment, but they can actually set that up and transfer funds electronically from their bank account into your CalABLE account. They can do that every month. Let's say you were working and you wanted to put a portion of your paycheck in. Let's say you want to put $10 a month every month in your CalABLE account. You could do that as well. You could just put move $10 every month from your bank account into your CalABLE account. The nice thing that you can do if you are an SSI is you can actually have a direct deposit go into your CalABLE account. Very simple. You just link your Social Security SSI account to CalABLE, and they will automatically deposit that into your account. We also have people at our customer service center that can also help you navigate that if you need some assistance. One thing I will caution you though, if you're going to do that SSI direct deposit, if you would be receiving in excess of $19,000 in this calendar year, you may want to have it still go to your checking account and then link that to your CalABLE account and then transfer funds between those that way, because again, you don't want to have that account, you don't want that SSI deposit to go over the 19,000, because then it would go back to Social Security. So just keep that in mind. I believe that annual limit tends to increase every year. So in a couple of years, you would probably be okay. But for right now, that's just something that I like to remind people about. Talked about direct deposit at work, how you can have your account work with your employer and they can put money directly into your account. And the last way you can do, of course, is writing a check and sending that into the CalABLE office. This is another Ambassador Valerie, and I really like what she says, and it's because she actually has a service dog, and she puts $50 every month into her CalABLE account. Her service dog will have to retire someday. She'll need a successor dog, so she is actually planning for her future. And this is just an example of another reoccurring deposit. I talked a little bit about this e-gifting feature, and this is really simple. When you're in the CalABLE portal, as you're opening your account, you can go through and make all these different selections, and the e-gifting portal is there. And what it does, it just provides you a link, very similar to like a GoFundMe page. So if you have an upcoming birthday, Christmas is not too far around the corner, this is a great thing that you can share with your family and friends, and ask them to help you fund your CalABLE account, because you may have a goal that you want, that you're saving for, or you just are putting money away for some emergency expenses or things like that. So this is a great resource, very simple. All they do is they get the link, they can put money in, they do not see your account balance or anything, they can just make deposits. This is Hector. He's actually one of our ambassadors, and this was actually his goal when he first opened his CalABLE account back in 2018, was he wanted to purchase a 2-bedroom, 2-bath mobile home for his mom. And so he created the gift feature, had all his family and friends donate, contribute to his CalABLE account, and he was able to successfully get a down payment, and now he shares that 2-bedroom, 2-bath mobile home with his mom. So that's just another example of how these accounts are so flexible. We do have investment options here. Our CalABLE offers professionally managed portfolios. All the money in these accounts, when you invest it, they are growing tax-free. And if you save it over time, then you're going to be able to compound those earnings and grow wealth. So this is what our current portfolio is. We do have the FDIC insured portfolio option. We have probably about 30% of our account holders use this option. They like it because it's safe and secure, and that's what they're familiar with. Especially first-time savers, this may be something new that they've started, a new habit they're developing, so that FDIC insured option is very popular. Outside of that, we do have the standard investment portfolios, income portfolio. That one has bonds and money market securities in it, and then we have just the normal conservative to growth portfolios, which are divided between stocks and bonds, and that's just a progressive scale. And so it's up to the account holder how they would, like to invest their money. It's what is their long-term savings goal. You can actually divide these up if you would like. You could do a percentage in your FDIC insured. You could do a percentage in any of the other options. What I like to always kind of talk a little bit here is, everybody has their savings goal. Everybody knows how much money they always want to have in the bank, and that's going to be different for everybody. So maybe you start off with FDIC insured, you reach that savings goal of how much you want in the bank. Then once you exceed that, then maybe you look at diversifying and um, you know, you know, seeing what other financial avenues that you may want to, grow your money into. So we cannot give advice here at CalABLE. We just do not have, I don't have all those extra letters behind my name as many financial planners do, but we do have a lot of information on our website. If you go to the calable.ca.gov website, you will see a tab that says investments, and you can click right there and it will give you all the information, all the different mutual funds that make up these portfolios, how, historical performance. We work with Vanguard, Schwab, and Fidelity, so we have some very safe portfolio managers. We also do have an account maintenance fee, and this is an annual fee, and so this is going to be taken out of your account on a quarterly basis. The current amount is $30. This is for everybody, doesn't matter which options you're in. So I do just like to have this example here. Let's just say somebody had $3,000 in their account. Their annual maintenance fee is going to be $30. And then depending on which options they select, if they're going to select FDIC, they're going to have an additional state administrative fee for a total annual fee of $38. Again, this is going to be divided quarterly, and it's going to be based on the balance of the account at that particular time. If you add your investment portfolios, if you are splitting your things between FDIC and investment, you would have an additional investment fee amount that would be added to that, with an annual fee between $42 and $43. Again, this is a quarterly thing that would be coming out, and it's always going to be based on the balance of that account. All the portfolios have different rates, as you can see, so that is why this investment fee fluctuates. If you wanted paper statements, we don't get too many requests for that, but if you wanted to have a paper statement actually mailed to you, it's going to be an additional $10 annually. But you are certainly free to print your own statements from your, whatever source you use to print documents. Otto here, he is one of our younger ambassadors, and he says, I'm young, but it's a perfect time for him to start thinking about his financial future, and that's exactly why he has this CalABLE account, because he's thinking about those long-term goals that he may have, and so this is a great opportunity for him to save for those future items. Let's talk about my favorite topic, and I know this was one of the questions, is qualified disability expenses, and how is this defined? And I mentioned earlier about the PALMs. These categories do come from the PALMs. These are just categories, but the definition is part of the federal law, which says that any expense that helps the account holder improve their health, independence, or quality of life. So if you can answer yes to one of those things, then that expense that you want to use your CalABLE account is eligible. So I think we can all agree that education works. And if you currently have a college savings plan, a 529, you could actually roll that over into your CalABLE account. You can still use it for education, or if there are other things you need to use it for, then you would be able to use that money for that as well. Transportation and travel, any ride shares that you may be using, even if you have, and I just heard this example, a parent maybe is transporting their adult child to a job or whatever. So they are actually their transportation. So if you needed to put gas in the car, you can actually use that because the parent is actually the transportation service for that particular individual or a friend or whatever. Um, the other thing here we talk about, which is not always a popular topic, but is those funeral and burial expenses. So the question, about end of life, this certainly would be something that if there were extra funds in the account, those funds could be used to cover those costs. If if there were extra funds and the family needed some funds for those. But my favorite topic is the and more category, and that is just so broad. We said basic needs, including food. Yes, you can use it for purchasing groceries. Say you want to go have coffee with somebody. Let's say you want to go on a vacation. Yes, you could use your CalABLE account for that because is that vacation, is it going to help improve your health, your independence, or quality of life? And so, like I said, if you can answer yes, then that's an allowable expense. Let's say you have a caregiver and you need that caregiver to assist you when you're on vacation. You could actually use the funds to help pay for that caregiver's transportation, plane ticket, however you're going to get to your destination, but you could use the funds for that. Another example I like to say here, and I think this is a really easy one, let's say you want to get a haircut. Everybody has a different amount that they pay for a haircut. And there's no haircut manual that says haircuts can only cost X amount of dollars. And that's the beauty of these accounts, is that you can use them for whatever you need, anything that's going to improve your health, your independence, or your quality of life. So just keep that in mind. I think the easier question here is, what can't I use my CalABLE account for? And what we like to recommend is gambling. I think we can all agree gambling may not be, it could improve your quality of life, I guess, how much you won. But again, these are managed, overseen by the federal government. So like you and I, we all have to keep our receipts. You never know, we may be subject to an audit. So if you were to use it for gambling, it's not that you have to explain it to CalABLE, but you're going to have to explain it to whoever is reviewing your account at the time. And the other thing is anything that's illegal, and I think that's a pretty easy one. So as long as you're not using your account for those two items, you pretty much can use it on anything. Just remember, if you can answer the question, is this expense going to improve my health, independence, or quality of life, then you can use your account. We also have the ability for a prepaid card, and this is something you would do when you were in the portal. You can sign up for a prepaid card. It takes about probably a week after you request it that you would actually receive it. I'd say between 5 to 7 business days after it's requested. But what's nice about this, especially if you are the conservator and you may have an adult child, and you're teaching them some money management skills, this is a great way for you to download that card, let them have some financial independence. They can use it, but then they don't have full access to the account. So we've heard that this really is a popular item. And I've also even heard beneficiaries say that they like having this because it helps them manage their money a little bit easier. If they put $100 on, they only know that that's all the money they can spend for that month. It's a way for them to do some budgeting. They may have more in their CalABLE account, but it helps them. So I really see it as a very useful tool. The nice thing with the prepaid card too is you can actually upload all your receipts. You can take pictures of those, put them in the portal, and then they're there for your review or whenever you may need to access it. The other thing I don't have on in this presentation, and I will briefly mention it, is CalABLE does have an app. And so you can use the CalABLE app. You can also use that with the prepaid card. We use TrueLink as our service, and I believe the prepaid card is tied to TrueLink. So you can actually look at that, and you can actually, keep track of your account balance. The mobile app will show you what is also in your account. If you're interested about your prepaid card, you would be able to see that on the TrueLink app. This is a parent. This is just another example of how she's using her account, and she's using it for therapy, horseback riding, music, and art therapy for her two children. So there's multiple uses. I just am sharing a few examples with you today. How do I open a CalABLE account? I am going to play this video very quickly for you.
You can open an account online in about 20 minutes. It's so easy. You will need a few pieces of information to get started. Your email, your birthday, a social security number or a tax identification number, and contact details. And if you're an authorized legal representative, you'll need the same information as the beneficiaries plus your work status. Here's how quick the process is. Visit calable.ca.gov and click Open an Account. Click to begin your enrollment. And start your account with just a $25 contribution. And if you need help, there are people ready to walk you through it. Call 833-CalABLE, 833-225-2253.
Okay, so that is how to open the account. Again, this is our website, calable.ca.gov. You do want to make sure that you see that little icon up here at the top, because there are several ABLE programs throughout the country, as I mentioned. And if you want to do CalABLE, just make sure you're on the correct site. The other thing is, and this slide is actually a little dated, and we've actually added additional languages. But this is if you would like to open your account in a different language. When you're on this home screen, open an account, you would go down to the bottom where it says select your language, and then you would select which option is works for you. So we do have this available now. The disclosure statement is still available in English and Spanish. But as far as the actual account portal of opening an account, we actually have this available in actually 19 languages. We just found out about that. So I wanted to let you know about that. This here is what I wanted to just briefly go over, because I had some questions in here earlier. How does CalABLE and Special Needs Trust? What's the difference? And really, the main thing that we talk about here is we don't say it's one or the other. We actually see these two working together. We see CalABLE and Special Needs Trust working together. If you look at some of the comparisons here, CalABLE, it's online. You can do it in about 20 minutes. Your Special Needs Trust, you're going to need to work with an attorney for that. The other big item here is that the individual is the owner of this. So you do not, so it's the account owner that's making those decisions, how they want to use their money, where the trustee is going to be managing that for the individual. What we also see here is that a lot of times, Special Needs Trust, if they do have a CalABLE account, oftentimes they will transfer over money into the CalABLE account. And so, and we see this related to housing specifically. Oftentimes there may not be enough in their housing allowance to cover the full amount of rent. And so oftentimes we see that money being transferred from the trust into the CalABLE account to to offset that rent cost. So let's say rent's $1,000, they're only getting 800, so they're going to bring $200 out of the CalABLE account and pay the rent cost. So anyone can contribute. As we mentioned, there's the $19,000 that you can put in this year. It doesn't cost anything to open the CalABLE account, and it's that $25 deposit that you put in every year. I would encourage you to make another deposit within that first 6 months of opening an account, because we do have that annual fee that would be in there. So there's a lot of things that you can use the CalABLE account for. The withdrawals are tax-free. There's no penalties for that, and your earnings are growing tax-free. So there are a lot of pluses to having a CalABLE account. But again, we do not say it's one or the other. We say it's actually both. What happens when a CalABLE account owner passes away? Again, we have quite a few questions about this. And so I'm just going to kind of read this for you. Death of the beneficiary, funds from a CalABLE account can be used by his or her estate to repay any outstanding eligible costs, expenses, funeral and burial costs. And I mentioned that earlier. So if somebody does pass away, what you would want to do is notify CalABLE about that passing. So then it would go into that person's estate, or it would let them. That's how that would be handled. So it becomes part of the estate. It doesn't go. CalABLE doesn't get the funds back. It stays with the estate. The next one is on Medi-Cal, and there's been quite a few discussions about Medi-Cal lately. Right now, there are no limits, but beginning in January, if you have $130,000, that's the threshold that Medi-Cal is looking at. But anything in the CalABLE account does not count as a resource for Medi-Cal. So, if let's say you've had this account for quite a few years and you got, let's say, $150,000 in your account, Medi-Cal isn't going to look at that as a resource and discontinue your Medi-Cal. So just to let you know that everything in the CalABLE account is going to still be protected. Medi-Cal will not be looking at that. But if somebody is receiving Medi-Cal and something happens, as it states here, however, the state may recover on assets that have transferred from CalABLE to an estate. So if they did have a CalABLE account and it was part of their estate, all of the following conditions would need to apply before Medi-Cal could even consider looking at the CalABLE account. And the first one is that the deceased Medi-Cal member was age 55 or older. The second one is the member leaves an estate that is subject to formal probate. Currently, the law is $184,000. So that is something that would need to be occurring. Also, the member received nursing facility services or home and community-based services, including related hospital and prescription drug services. And the last one is the member is not survived by a spouse or registered domestic partner, child under 21 years of age, or disabled child of any age. Again, all of these conditions need to be active in order for Medi-Cal to even begin to recover, to draw from the CalABLE account. And I will mention, I just got a confirmation today that we will be having a Medi-Cal webinar in October. I believe it's going to be October 1st. But Mara, we can certainly share that information with you when we get that formalized. But we tend to have Medi-Cal on at least yearly, and this will be a great webinar for people that may have some concerns. We like to have them on as the new laws are coming in effect. I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions, so stay tuned for that. If I have any parents here today, we actually have a separate page for parents. So if you were to go to the join calable.ca.gov/parents, there's actually a fact page there just for you that will give you additional information as a parent. I think we covered a lot today, and so these are the things that I always like to just end the presentation with, and it's really why would you choose CalABLE? I think we covered a lot of these issues. The first thing that empowers you to save and plan for the future really is that it's designed for that. Your benefits, especially if you're on SSI, are protected, and even if you're getting Medi-Cal, you're going to be able to continue to receive Medi-Cal because CalABLE does not count as a resource. Family and friends can contribute. They can do that through that gifting page. Your money can grow tax-free. So as you are saving, that money is growing tax-free. Great place for you to save and not have to worry about that. And you can save it on anything that improves your health, your independence, or quality of life. We talked about that. But my favorite part, and that's always what I like to say, is, we have 15 account holders. They are part of our CalABLE community. And we really do look at our account holders as part of our community. Once you are an account holder, we have a monthly newsletter that goes out, giving you additional updates about CalABLE. You get our monthly webinar, and there are a lot of great topics that we cover every month. And it's really those topics come from people who attend the webinars, and we see a common interest that people are asking, so we will do a webinar on that. But for today, since you are attending this presentation, if you after this presentation are interested in opening a CalABLE account, you put your $25 in, you use this promo code CAZOOM, we are actually going to add an additional $50 to your account today. So this is good through the end of the year. So I don't want to say through the end of the month because we're almost out of August, but if you still need to do a little more research, but because you were at this presentation today, if you use that promo code, you would get that additional $50 added to your account. You heard about our call center, and that's at 833-225-2253 number. They're open 6 to 5, Monday through Friday. Very supportive team there. If you have any additional questions, you need assistance with the application process, they are there to help. This is our staff. Thomas Martin, he is our executive director. Myself, I'm Ann Osborne, the deputy executive director. We have Madeline Handy and Maria Sandoval. We are all covering the state and sharing this resources with everybody that we can have the opportunity to present to. And with that, I will just end here with our disclosure statement. We just do need to let you know that if you do select investment options, there are risks associated to that. So we just want to make you aware of that. And with that, I say thank you. And I think we have a few minutes here, Mara.
Yeah.
So I answered all those questions through this presentation, and I can stick around a little bit longer. So I know we started a little bit late, and we've got quite a few people here today. So I can stay for as long as
Okay. Yeah, we have a couple of questions that popped up in the chat. Thank you, Anne, for the great presentation. So the first one, as far as kind of relating back to that idea of Medi-Cal recovery, is it possible to name a beneficiary on a CalABLE account to avoid probate? So is it possible if I have a CalABLE account to say, upon my death, I would like the balance of this account to go to my sister?
Yes, and I did not put that successor benefit. Yes, they could. They could say, I want that to go. Now, just remember, in doing that, If that beneficiary would not be eligible for a CalABLE account, let's say they did not have a disability, they could still receive the funds, but they are going to have those additional inheritance types taxes applied to it. Again, these accounts are for people with disabilities. So if a person that's not eligible, they can still receive the funds, but there would be additional, they have to pay those additional taxes and penalties.
Okay. Are CalABLE accounts strictly for individuals, or can groups of some type open a CalABLE account?
So that's a great question. We do have what we call our group entities. And so we have actually worked with a few regional centers that have opened accounts for their clients. That's a very simple process. And if somebody is interested in that, they can reach out to me. I should have my email here. It's
I can post your email in the chat right now. Yeah.
to me, and I know we've had a conversation with a few regional centers interested in possibly doing that. But yes, we definitely can do that. We definitely, I'm sure we could probably do nonprofit. I just have to see what the requirements are if there's a nonprofit that's doing it. It's it's pretty easy. It's just, there are a few additional layers that we want to make sure that the accounts are being spent, or going to the right place and being spent by the right people. So we have a few little extra protections, but nothing that isn't manageable.
Okay. To your knowledge, is the CalABLE program at risk due to changes at the federal level?
No, the
Okay.
CalABLE program is not. We are funded actually through the general fund. So that is, as far as our administration costs, that is how all our salaries are paid for here at CalABLE. As far as the account holders, their funds are in, they're in FDIC. They're also in those very safe, secure portfolios. So as far as managing the assets, that is not something that the federal government is involved in. That we have a program administrator, is Bestwell State Savings, that is overseeing that aspect. So we are good to go.
Great. That's good news. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, so that's
That's
the
it.
one piece
That's
of good
not
news.
an uncommon question. I've heard it more this year, but I had that same question when we first started the program back in 2019. But no, I mean, we wouldn't have 15,000 account holders and over 200 million assets if there was a concern. So
Yeah.
definitely everything is good on that side.
Are CalABLE accounts available only as savings account, or are there also checking account features?
So currently we do not have the checking account option. It's a savings and investment tool. I think if you were really to use it in a checking account manner, it would be really downloading that prepaid card with a budget amount of money. And so because you can use the prepaid card anywhere that Visa is accepted. So I think from that aspect, that would probably be the most similar I could, as far as a comparison with a checking account. But you do have to sign up for the prepaid card. It's not like your normal checking account where you open an account and automatically you get your debit card. Now, this does require you to open it and to fund it.
Okay, great. Do you have a suggestion on where people might be able to look for more information on the guidelines for a qualifying disability under the category of a qualifying mental illness?
That would be in the Social Security. It's going to be in one of those publications. Those are very large documents. I apologize. I would start there, start doing keyword searches, and
Yeah.
see, I would probably also, if there is a local NAMI office in your area, you may also want to reach out to them because they are probably familiar with that book as well. So that would be my recommendation.
Okay, great. If someone has a CalABLE account and a regular bank account, like a non-CalABLE account, just at a regular bank, checking or savings, their regular account would still be subject to a $2,000 asset limit for SSI or a $130,000 asset limit for Medi-Cal. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah. And
Okay.
that's what is really nice, if somebody is really close, and this is where we see a lot of relief from parents as they're trying to manage their accounts, because they may be really tight with that 2,000, they may, $20, they could get an extra $20 in their account, and they're over the resource. So that's what's really nice about the CalABLE account, especially if you're linking them. You can always be transferring money out of that account. You can do a reoccurring, as we mentioned. If you're running it really tight, maybe you just automatically put $50 in your CalABLE account every month, just to give yourself a little cushion. So that's what's really nice. I've heard this a lot from our account holders, that they really like having that feature, because it helps them manage and stay within that $2,000 resource limit.
Great. Back to the issue of a beneficiary on a CalABLE account, is it possible to designate a charitable organization that, for example, serves individuals with disabilities as the beneficiary of your CalABLE account?
I I would I I don't want to answer that because I'm not exactly sure. I would think if you are looking at something like that, that would be something you would probably want to put in your estate and
Yeah.
be part of your estate.
Okay. Okay.
Not sure how they would liquidate that. So
Yeah.
that would be why I would probably stray away from that one.
Okay. Well, those are all the questions we have for today. And I want to thank you so much for your time and the great presentation. Do you have anything before we close? We will be sending people a copy of today's recording and a copy of that flyer that Anne shared and the slides. But is there anything before we head out?
I just want to thank everybody for their time today. It looks like we had a great crowd, over 90 people, and I just am thankful that people took an hour out of their day to listen to this, and hopefully you learned something, and that you're able to share it within your networks outside of CalABLE. So, I mean, this group, but
Yeah.
and again, Laura, we're always, wanting anybody who has a group would like us to come. We are very accessible. You see me today on Zoom. We pretty much will go wherever anybody asks us. We even do evenings. We've done a few Saturdays. I've done Saturdays. So, it's really, our goal is really to just let everybody know about this, and let them know what's available and how they can save for their futures.
Great. Thank you so much, Anne. Thank you, everyone. And we'll be in touch soon. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
All
Bye-bye.
right.